There is a kind of life that doesn't require escape. A life so aligned, so electrified by purpose and presence, that the idea of a vacation feels redundant. Not because it's without work, but because every day is designed with intention. Every moment is chosen, not tolerated. Every breath part of a masterpiece being painted in real time. Most people wake up already dreaming of somewhere else. Some other beach, some other day, some other life. But let me ask you this. What if you didn't have to run away from the life you live? What if the very ground beneath your feet could be holy because it was yours? Built by your own hands, shaped by your own discipline, designed by your highest self. That kind of life is not reserved for the lucky. It's built by the deliberate. Let's start with the root, your mindset. Because until your mind is free, no place on earth will feel like freedom. A prison of thoughts will follow you to paradise. Winners understand that geography doesn't fix internal chaos. A beach won't heal what your beliefs keep breaking. So they start within. They master their perspective like a sculptor, chipping away at every excuse, every complaint, every lie inherited from mediocrity. Because here's the truth. You don't get a life you love by default. You get it by design. And that design begins with what you believe about yourself, your power, your future. Losers wait for motivation. Winners act on principle. And principle doesn't care if it's Monday or Friday, if it's raining or clear, if you're tired or inspired. It says, show up. Not because the world will clap for you, but because you made a vow to yourself, and that vow is sacred. Mindset is not about thinking positive. It's about thinking powerfully, thinking intentionally, thinking in alignment with your vision, not your emotions. It's asking every thought, does this move me forward or does it keep me stuck? When you start auditing your mind like that, you begin to strip away what doesn't serve you. And in that clearing, something beautiful happens. Clarity is born. Clarity is the soil where power grows. Because when you know what you want, every decision gets simpler, not easier, simpler. Clarity doesn't remove the cost, but it reminds you that the price is worth it. You stop negotiating with distractions. You stop dating indecision. You stop living life as a reaction and start living it as an intentional response. Winners don't wake up and see how the day goes. They wake up and tell the day where it's going. They have a blueprint, a vision. Not a dream they revisit once a year when burnout forces reflection. A daily, living, breathing vision that fuels their actions like oxygen. They don't ask, what do I feel like doing today? They ask, what would the person I want to become do today? And then they do it, whether they feel like it or not. That's discipline. Discipline is love in action. Love for your future, love for your potential, love for your purpose. It's not punishment, it's protection. It's how you guard your greatness from being eaten alive by comfort. Because comfort, while pleasant, is a liar. It whispers, stay here, you've done enough, when the next level is only one decision away. Discipline, on the other hand, says, you are more than this moment, move. It's the inner commander that refuses to let you die with your music still inside. When discipline becomes a habit, freedom becomes a lifestyle. And that's what we're really after, isn't it? Not just success, but sovereignty. A life where you don't need to unplug to feel peace. A life where your work is your worship. Your schedule reflects your soul. Your presence is so rooted that no amount of chaos can shake it. That life is built in layers. Through action, repeated, aligned action. You cannot think your way into a better life. You must act. You must move your feet, use your hands, raise your voice. You must risk, try, fail, learn, adjust, and keep going. Action is the only antidote to stagnation. And not random, frantic action. Strategic, focused, repeated moves toward what matters most. Every day. Because when you stack days like bricks, you build walls that keep the noise out. You build floors that carry your dreams. You build ceilings that rise with you as you grow. You build home. A home inside your schedule. A home inside your body. A home inside your mission. And from that home, gratitude flows. Gratitude not as a feeling, but as a practice, a chosen lens. The decision to say, even this is part of it. The highs, the lows, the delays, the breakthroughs. Gratitude transforms work into worship. It turns pressure into privilege. It reframes the mundane as sacred. When you live with gratitude, you no longer wait for vacations to feel alive. You bring life into every task, every call, every rep, every word. Because every moment matters when you know what you're building. And yes, there will be change. Yes, there will be chaos. Yes, there will be days that demand everything you've got and still ask for more. That's where adaptability comes in. Adaptability is not weakness. It's not compromise. It's not surrender. It's evolution. The strongest structures are not the ones that never move. They're the ones that know how to bend with the wind, to shift with the storm, to flex without breaking. Winners do not fear change. They ride it. They use it. They anticipate it, like a chess master who's already 10 moves ahead. Because life doesn't wait for your plan to be perfect. Life demands that you pivot with purpose. Adaptability is the habit of presence, of seeing clearly what is, not clinging to what was. It's the courage to release a dream that no longer fits your mission, to walk away from paths that once looked promising but now lead to nowhere. It's choosing alignment over attachment, momentum over nostalgia. And from this, adaptability rises resilience. Resilience is your ability to suffer well, to bleed with grace, to lose without breaking. It's not the absence of pain, it's the presence of power in the middle of it. Resilience says, this hurts, but it will not define me. It says, I may fall, but I rise fluent in the language of the lesson. Winners are not winners because they never fail. They're winners because they never stay down. They build internal infrastructure, emotional armor. They don't wait to be rescued. They rebuild themselves better, smarter, stronger every time. And the secret is this: the pain is part of the plan. The loss is not in the way, it is the way. That's the path to becoming unshakable. And to walk that path, you must be a learner. Always. Lifelong learning is the mindset of the masters. The top 1% don't consume information to be entertained. They consume it to be transformed. They read to refine their edge. They study because growth is their addiction, because nothing scares them more than staying the same. They know this: the person you're becoming is shaped by the ideas you're feeding on. If you're not reading, you're regressing. If you're not reflecting, you're repeating. If you're not learning, you're losing. Winners live like students of life. Every room is a classroom. Every mistake, a textbook. Every win, a case study. Every person, a potential mentor. They are humble enough to listen, yet bold enough to apply. Because knowledge without application is vanity. But knowledge with execution, that's a weapon. And it's this combination of vision, discipline, gratitude, resilience, learning that births a life of peaceful power. A life that doesn't need to be paused to be enjoyed. A life that doesn't need a vacation to feel sacred. A life where the ordinary becomes extraordinary because it's aligned with who you truly are. That life is not a fantasy. It's not a myth. It's not a poster on your wall or a screensaver on your phone. It's real. It's possible. It's waiting for you to build it. Not tomorrow. Not when things slow down. Not when the timing's right. Now. Right now is your invitation. Not to escape, but to create. Not to retreat from the chaos, but to rise above it. To take back your time. To own your hours. To step into the sacred power of someone who has decided to design their life from the inside out. That is how you build a life you don't need a vacation from. Let's keep building, not with blueprints borrowed from others, but with a vision that is uniquely yours. Because the greatest tragedy is not to fail, it's to succeed at the wrong thing. To build a life that looks good in pictures but feels hollow in your chest. To reach the top of a ladder and realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. This is why purpose matters. Purpose is the pulse of a meaningful life. Without it, even success becomes suffering. Without it, every win feels weightless. But with it, even the struggle is sacred. Even the mundane feels divine because you know why you're here. You know what you're building. You know who you're becoming in the process. Purpose is not found in a book. It's forged in battle. It emerges when your actions align with your highest values, when your habits reflect your deepest truth, when you stop chasing approval and start chasing impact. And once you have purpose, you protect it. You guard it from anything that dilutes it, gossip, comparison, clutter, because you understand every yes that isn't aligned is a betrayal of your mission. Winners are not just disciplined with their time, they are ruthless with their focus. They know that distraction is the enemy of destiny. So they curate their life like art. They sculpt their environment, their routines, their relationships to reflect what they value most. And in that design, peace grows. Not the peace of stillness, the peace of strength. The kind of peace that doesn't come from a perfect day, but from knowing you lived it fully, aligned with integrity. That's the peace no vacation can offer. The peace of becoming someone you respect, someone you admire, someone you can't wait to wake up as tomorrow. That peace is earned through pain, through process, through persistence. And it becomes a power, a gravity that pulls the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy into your orbit. Because when you live aligned, you attract aligned. You stop chasing. You start commanding, not with ego, but with energy. The energy of someone who has done the inner work. The energy of someone who doesn't just hope, but knows. Knows who they are. Knows what they're building. Knows why they won't quit. This is the life you were meant to live. A life that doesn't beg for escape. A life that doesn't rely on fantasy. A life that feels like freedom because it was built with fire. So rise every morning with conviction. Speak every word with clarity. Move every step with intention. Live every day with the sacred joy of someone who stopped surviving and started creating. This is how you build a life you don't need a vacation from. And the best part? You don't just live it. You become it. Let that life begin now, not with fireworks, not with fanfare, but with a simple, unwavering decision. A decision that says, I will no longer wait for permission. I will no longer ask the world to validate what I already know inside. Because you do know. You've always known. Buried beneath the noise, the conditioning, the expectations, there's been a quiet truth that refuses to die. You were meant for more. Not more in the shallow sense, more things, more noise, more applause, but more depth, more meaning, more expression of your full, unfiltered, unapologetic power. And that begins when you stop outsourcing your joy. When you stop making your happiness dependent on a weekend, a trip, a raise, a relationship. When you stop giving away your power to circumstances and start reclaiming it through your choices. Because the life you want won't be handed to you. It will be forged in small moments, in early mornings, in late nights, in the way you show up when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when no one else is clapping. And as you keep showing up, something begins to shift. The work stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like expression. You're no longer grinding through tasks. You're pouring yourself into them. You're no longer escaping from life. You're immersing into it. You're no longer waiting to arrive. You're awake to the fact that you're already on sacred ground. Because the real reward is not just a finished life. It's a lived one. A life where you look around and feel no urge to run, to numb, to fly away. A life where you wake up with a fire in your soul. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've made peace with who you are and what you're building. A life where your days are filled not with chaos, but with rhythm. Not with rush, but with ritual. Not with burnout, but with brilliance. That's not luck. That's not fantasy. That's the fruit of fierce intention. That's the result of designing your day before it designs you. Of aligning your actions with your values. Of refusing to be another person who trades their soul for a paycheck and calls it responsibility. This is not about rebellion, it's about reclamation. Reclaiming your hours. Reclaiming your attention. Reclaiming your ability to create, to contribute, to become. And in that reclamation, you start to realize This life isn't something to be survived. It's something to be sculpted. And the chisel is your habits. So carve carefully, speak with precision, move with reverence. Treat every hour like the currency it is and invest it in becoming someone you can be proud of. Someone who wakes up not needing to escape their life because they built a life worth staying for that is the prize. Not a vacation, not a break, not a temporary escape from stress, but a life so aligned, so rich in purpose that you rise with hunger and rest with peace. A life where your soul is not starved by schedules, but fed by sacred intention. This is the gift of living by design. It's when your calendar reflects your convictions, when your to-do list is not a burden but a bridge to impact, to meaning, to your higher self. When you look at your work, not as a prison, but as a platform. When your energy is no longer drained by what you hate, but fueled by what you love. And if that's not your life yet, good. That means there's work to do. And there is no higher honor than to be called to build the life you were meant for. No applause yet? Good. No map handed to you? Good. No shortcut available? Even better. Because the process purifies. It humbles. It shapes you into the kind of person who's not just capable of living your dream, but worthy of it. So let the work be hard. Let the mornings be early, the hours be long, the path be uncertain. Let it stretch you. Let it shake you. Let it summon the version of you who's been waiting to wake up. Because comfort never called that version forward. Challenge did. Pressure did. Purpose did. And now it's your move. No one's coming to make you free. No one's arriving to save your time. No one's going to hand you the rhythm, the discipline, the fire. You must create it. You must become it. You must look at your life and say, all of this is raw material, and I am the architect. You don't need to start over. You need to start on purpose. Start seeing your time as sacred. Start treating your word like law. Start designing your space to reflect your values. Start choosing your relationships with wisdom. Start building your body like it's the vessel of a visionary. Start moving like you are someone who matters, because you are. Start today, not with a dramatic overhaul, but with a clear intention. I will not abandon my life to circumstance. I will build it, one aligned action at a time. One decision, one commitment, one truth, until the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be disappears. And all that's left is someone fully alive, fully expressed, fully at home, not in a place, but in a purpose. That is how you build a life you don't need a vacation from. So build it like your name is on every brick. Build it like your children will inherit not just your assets, but your energy. Build it like it's a love letter to the world, not written in words, but in how you show up every single day, how you speak, how you lead, how you create, how you forgive, how you stretch, how you stay, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Because staying power, that's the final gift. The ability to remain grounded in a world that's always pushing you to escape into distraction, into consumption, into comfort disguised as self-care. But you are different. You're not here to escape. You're here to engage. You're here to look your life in the eye and say, I choose this. And if it's not worth choosing yet, good. That means it's still wet cement. It means you still get to shape it, still get to mold it, still get to rip out what doesn't serve and lay down what does. This is the sacred privilege of being alive. You are not just a body in motion. You are a spirit with design authority, a mind with the power to bend reality, a soul with the audacity to say, this life will be mine, fully, fiercely, authentically. And when you live like that, when you show up to every sunrise, not with fear, but with fire, you begin to create something rare, a life where your work is worship, where your presence is peace, where your daily rhythms become rituals of greatness, where your life is not something you endure until Friday, but something you celebrate, even on Monday, where your relationships are chosen with care, your words laced with intention, your habits echoing your highest truth. And when you arrive at the end of your journey, when your time is done and your story is written, May the world not just remember your name. May it remember your energy, your alignment, your integrity, your refusal to settle. Because you didn't just live a good life. You built a great one. One that needed no escape, only presence, only purpose, only power. So go now, not with hesitation, but with holy resolve. You know what to do. Build the life, live the truth, and never, ever apologize for making every day the destination, not the detour. Not the pause between bigger moments, not the space between weekends, but the moment, the main event, the place where your life actually happens. Because this is the secret the world will never teach you. Joy is not on a calendar. It's not booked through an agency. It's not wrapped in plane tickets or travel posts. It's in presence, in purpose, in the radical courage to show up fully alive, exactly where you are. And when you do, when you bring that level of energy to the grocery store, to your desk, to your workouts, to your conversations, to your craft, the world starts to shift around you. Not because it changed, but because you did. You are no longer surviving. You are no longer outsourcing meaning. You are living in the truest, deepest, most electrified sense of the word. And others will feel it. Your family will feel it. Your team will feel it. Your legacy will feel it. Because the life you build becomes the life that teaches, the life that elevates, the life that echoes after you're gone, not in what you owned, but in who you were. And who you were is forged in what you do every single day. That is your true curriculum. Not what you post, but what you practice. Not what you hope for, but what you habitually become. So stop waiting for the world to calm down before you start creating peace. Stop hoping for a break before you feel whole. Stop dreaming of a vacation before you decide to live free. You are not waiting for life to start. You are it. You are the breakthrough. You are the rhythm. You are the builder, the author, the fire in the middle of the ordinary that turns the everyday into the extraordinary. This is how you build a life that doesn't need a vacation. You build it moment by moment, breath by breath, brick by brick, until one day, without even realizing it, you look around not with longing but with awe, and you whisper to yourself the rarest words a human can speak. I love this life, and I built it. Now, go live like it. And when you build it, when your feet hit the floor every morning with intention, when your actions align with your soul, when your presence becomes louder than your words, everything changes. The world will still move fast. The chaos will still swirl, but you will be grounded, rooted in rhythm, anchored in truth, no longer swayed by the tides of urgency, because you've become a lighthouse steady, sure, unshakable. And from that place, you don't just live, you lead. Not from ego, not from force, but from the sheer magnetism of someone who is deeply aligned. Your peace will become contagious. Your discipline will inspire. Your joy will awaken the sleeping giants in those around you. Because when one person dares to live fully, to live freely, to live without apology, they give others permission to do the same. That's legacy. That's impact. That's what this life is about. Not just building for yourself, but building something through yourself, something so powerful, so true, that it leaves a trail for others to follow. And if ever you forget that, return to your habits, because they are the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming, between the life you want and the life you live, between the endless craving for escape and the unshakable joy of embodiment. So live like your life is the gift, because it is. Not a prison to escape, a playground to create, a platform to rise, a pulse of purpose that beats from your chest into the world. And every time you breathe with presence, every time you choose truth over trend, every time you act from vision instead of reaction, you are proving to yourself and to the world that freedom is not a destination. It's a decision. And you have already made it. Now walk it with power, with grace, with fierce, unapologetic joy. Because this is your life, and you have built it well. You have built it well, not in marble or gold, but in discipline, in clarity, in courage. You didn't wait for the world to slow down. You didn't beg for approval or applause. You didn't retreat. When it got hard, you rose. You built a cathedral out of daily habits. You forged peace in the furnace of persistence. This is what it means to live awake, to be fully here, fully you, fully alive, in the now, not waiting for a holiday, not longing for retirement, not dreaming of an elsewhere, but rooted in this moment, owning it, breathing it, bleeding it into everything you touch. Because you know now your life isn't a mistake to manage. It's a miracle to maximize. And you don't maximize miracles by hiding. You do it by showing up every day with fire, with focus, with fierce reverence for the gift of time. This is your reward. Not an escape, but engagement. Not a pause, but presence. Not relief, but realization. The realization that your life is the canvas, your choices, the paint, your standards, the frame, and your habits. They are the strokes repeated, daily, unglamorous, sacred. Because nothing changes until your rituals do. And everything changes when your rituals rise to match your vision. So keep showing up. Keep breathing fire into the mundane. Keep anchoring your days in gratitude, in action, in bold intention. And when doubt creeps in, as it always does, return to the truth. You are no longer waiting for life to feel good. You are choosing to make life mean something. And that is why your days no longer demand escape. Because you have finally come home. Home to your strength. Home to your truth. Home to the life you dared to build, not borrowed, not wished for, but built. With sweat, with soul, with silent victories stacked so high they've become a skyline. So stand tall in it. Live wide in it. And let the world see what's possible when someone stops chasing vacations and starts creating freedom every single day. Not once a year, not someday, not when the stars align or the noise quiets down, but today. This breath, this sunrise, this step, because the only moment you ever truly own is now, and it's more than enough to start, more than enough to transform, more than enough to reclaim the parts of you that have been buried under, maybe later, under when I have time, under after this season. But seasons don't change your life. Decisions do. You don't need more time, you need more truth. The truth that every excuse, every delay, every hesitation is costing you, the full version, the present version, the unstoppable version. And the truth is, that version is not found on a beach. It's not hiding in a new job or another plane ticket. It's forged in your response to this moment. So respond well. Respond with fire in your lungs. Respond with action in your bones. Respond like someone who has tasted the weight of wasted time and said, never again. Because once you've felt what it's like to live aligned, to work in flow, to move with purpose, to be who you say you are, there's no going back. You don't envy escapes anymore. You don't crave pauses because your life is the prize, not the highlight reel, the real, the raw, the deeply intentional, where every challenge is a chapter, every effort is a brick, every sunrise is a reminder, I am building this, I am choosing this, I am becoming this. And when others ask how you did it, how you found peace in the grind, how you created joy without needing to flee, how you became someone who radiates power from the inside out, you'll tell them, I stopped chasing escape. I started creating alignment. I stopped waiting for freedom. I built it. I made my life the vacation. So now walk in it. Own it. And don't just tell the world what's possible. Be what's possible. Because this is not just how you build a life you don't need a vacation from. This is how you become the person who no longer wants to leave. Because you are finally living in the home your soul was born to build. And that home, it's not a place, it's a state, a frequency, a rhythm that only the aligned can hear. It's in the way you wake up before the world, not to impress anyone, but because peace lives in the early hours. It's in the way you walk into your work, not dragging your feet, but carrying a vision, a vow, a voltage of purpose that doesn't fade when it's tested. It's in the way you move through struggle, not flinching, but flowing, not complaining, but creating. Because you've learned to dance with difficulty, to find music in the madness, to find clarity in the chaos. That's what alignment does. It turns noise into notes. It turns friction into fuel. It turns effort into elegance. And people will see it. They won't always understand it, but they will feel it. Because aligned people are rare. They're the ones who don't fold under pressure, who don't apologize for their peace, who don't hustle to prove they create from knowing, from overflow, from conviction. And you are that person now. You didn't wait for the world to slow down. You became the calm inside the storm. You didn't wait for success to give you permission to be free. You became free, and success followed. You didn't trade hours for approval. You invested time like gold, building something that pays you back in wholeness. This is wealth, not just in your bank account, but in your soul. This is freedom, not just the ability to travel, but the capacity to feel present wherever your feet are. This is success, not just in what you do, but in who you're becoming as you do it. And now, the final truth. You are not chasing a life anymore. You are living it fully, fiercely, faithfully. You are the evidence of what happens when someone stops outsourcing joy and starts embodying purpose. You are the echo of every small, unglamorous decision done in silence that has now become power. You are the proof that it's possible, that it's real, that a life you don't need a vacation from isn't just a dream. It's your reality. And the best part? You built it. Now live it. Every hour, every heartbeat, every step. And never again ask, when's the next break? Because you already know the answer. You don't need one, not when every moment you live is rooted in truth, crafted with care, aligned with the essence of who you are. You see, you've learned to work without wounding your soul, to rise without rushing, to achieve without abandoning yourself. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's the harvest of everything you've sown in silence. Every early rise, every choice to show up, every decision to say no to what's easy and yes to what's essential. And now you walk differently. Not faster, not louder, but deeper, grounded, present, with the quiet strength of someone who doesn't just own their time, but inhabits it. This is not the absence of struggle. It's the mastery of it. It's the ability to navigate stress without losing sight of what matters. To hold pressure in one hand and purpose in the other. To build a life that honors your values instead of violating your peace. And when the world tries to pull you back into chaos, into urgency, into distraction, you smile. Not because it's easy, but because you've built something it can't touch. A rhythm, a reason, a reality. So here you are, fully in your power. No mask, no performance, just truth. Breathing in alignment. Moving with meaning. Living with the kind of energy that can only come from choosing it over and over again. And when they ask how you did it, you won't speak of shortcuts or hacks. You'll speak of habits, of intention, of showing up to the life you already had and loving it into greatness. Because that's how it happens. You don't find a life you don't need a vacation from. You become the person who doesn't need to leave. And now you are that person. So hold your head high. Take the next step with conviction and let your very presence speak the words you no longer need to say. I am home in this moment. in this body, in this work, in this life, because I built it with fire, with truth, with relentless love. Now go and let the world feel what happens when a human finally decides to live.